YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today, guys, we are gonna talk about branded Darklords. Now, I am not gonna talk about Labyrinth and Black Wings because majority of the people are using Black Wings and Labyrinths in the event. So it's gonna be redundant for me to actually tackle or talk about those decks in this channel. Furthermore, having the branded Darklords is far better, and it's really fun. The reason why I'm also using branded Darklords so that we can cover up the light decks later on the line and just not steady ourselves with just dark decks in most of our content. The thing you need to know about this deck is you are basically running 1 copy of Superbia and 3 copies of Eggshell as an engine for your Darklord monsters. So Eggshell being drop any Darklord card, draw 2 cards. 1 Morning Star is typically a brick. It doesn't really work well if you don't have the Uprising or a copy of the Despian Theater. But anywho, I just wanted to add this card in the deck just so if ever you have this alongside the Uprising or the copy of the Theater and use this monster to fusion summon into the first Dark Lord, then you can immediately nuke the board if you have to. So that is one scenario that I really wanted to do in a typical board. If not, you can just drop a copy of Morningstar from the effect of a branded opening or a Fallen of Albaz effect. Yeah, just wanted this card to just nuke the board. But yeah, this card is somewhat of a brick or a garnet, if you might say. But yeah, let's talk about the card by card. 2 copies of Tragedy. You can drop this off from a copy of Foolish Burial or a copy of Golden Sarcophagus. 1 copy of Dark Hex Seal. I really love this card, by the way. So when I used the Dark World in my previous video, I really wanted this to be included in the deck so that this could be a substitute if ever you want to fusion summon a monster, which of course has 2 materials. So at least you have the 1 correct material and this as a substitute. 2 copies of Ukabak, 3 copies of Fallen of Albaz, 1 Capricious, 2 copies of Aliber, 1 copy of Mercurier, 1 copy of Spring and Skip, 1 copy of Superbia, 1 copy of Dramaturge, 1 copy of Albion just to drop and send this back to the deck, draw 1 card, 1 copy of Ad Libitum, 3 copies of Eggshell, and lastly 1 copy of Morningstar. Now those are your monsters right there. For your spell and traps, you have 1 copy of Foolish Burial, 1 Golden Sarcophagus or Gold Sarcophagus, 3 copies of Allure, draw 2, banish 1, 3 copies of Banishment of the Darklords, 2 copies of Contact, 1 copy of Branded Fusion. Majority of the time, you typically are using a copy of the Theater. This is kind of like your Branded Fusion in a sense. 1 copy of Branded Loss, 2 copies of Branded Opening, and 1 copy of Branded Red. For your traps, you have 1 copy of Rebellion just to pop 1 card. And 1 copy of Dark Lord Uprising. So this is your trap card that can fusion summon any Dark Lord card for the first Dark Lord. And lastly, 1 branded banishment. Now I have some thoughts with the branded banishment. I could go with another copy of branded in red, but yeah, having this trap card is really fun to actually use on. But anywho, that is your main deck. For your extra deck, you have 1 copy of Starving Venom. Now if you are not really a fan of the banishment, you can change this card to a copy of Super Poly. But Super Poly at this current state, this majority of the time you'll be running into light decks. So typically those are not really good targets for Super Poly. But yeah, it's really up to you if you want to use Super Poly for Starving Venom. 1 copy of Predaplant Dragostipelia, 1 Brigand, 1 copy of Sprite the Iron Dash, 1 copy of Albion, 1 Masquerade, 1 Mirror Jade, a copy of Rimdrum, 2 copies of Guardian Chimera, really good, that's why I'm adding 2 copies of this, 2 copies of the first Dark Lord since majority of your cards right here are fairies, so it's easy enough to summon to the field, 2 copies of your Condemned Dark Lord, and lastly, 1 copy of your Predaplant Verte Anaconda. So that is basically your lineup right there for the branded Dark Lords. Now, without further ado, let's move towards the replays. So I have 3 replays for you guys today, just to play it off with the branded Dark Lords. So enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the outro. Alright guys, so here we are with the replays, and we have a starting hand of Fallen Valbas, 1 Superbia, 1 Sarcophagus, 1 Allure of Darkness, and 1 copy of Branded Opening. So at this point on, we need more cards to our hand, so we need to dig up our deck. So we go for Allure of Darkness first. Again, drawing 2 cards, we got another copy of Albaz and a Banishment. Banishment will be activated, getting a copy of Eggshell. Eggshell will be used, dropping a copy of Superbia, drawing 2 more cards, which we got a brick. So at this point on, we use the effect of Sarcophagus, banishing a copy of Tragedy. Tragedy will search for Aliber, and then we go for Branded Opening, dropping a copy of Albaz there, getting a copy of Dramaturge for our Fusion Summon. Now for Aliber, getting a copy of Despian Theater, then Theater will be activated. But our opponent is going to use, so I'm going up against a Labyrinth Darklord deck. So that's really interesting for this player to actually use this on. But nevertheless, so instead of summoning Masquerade, which was my primary goal, I would just immediately go into the Chimera. And I think this is my first or one of my games where I forgot to add a copy of, or the second copy of Chimera here. So I'll mention later on why this is significant. So Chimera, pop 1 card, draw 2 cards, and chain block it with Dramaturge. Dramaturge on the field, and part Chimera draws 2 cards, pop 1 card. Use the effect of Albion, sending a copy of Banishment to the graveyard, and we got a copy of Allure. So, right. So set our red and our opening, and then end our turn there. He then used a copy of Banishment, getting a copy of Eggshell. Eggshell will then be activated, sending a copy of Uko back to the graveyard, drawing 2 cards. Ariana is on the field, getting a copy of Welcome Labyrinth, and then use the effect of Nascent, sending the Morningstar, okay, to special summon itself. So at this point on, I need monsters on the board, and this is where the part where I realized now that I forgot the second copy of Chimera. So yeah, really sad, but nevertheless it's perfectly fine. So Nastin, get a copy of Banishment, or yeah, use the effect of Banishment in the graveyard, getting a copy of Contact. Contact will then be activated, getting a copy of Eggshell to the field. Eggshell will then use the effect of Contact, and then special summon the Ukuba. So with this, this will allow him to go into the Chaos Angel for a level 7 and a level 3. So I was trying to stop this, but yeah, like I said, I forgot the second copy of Chimera. So what I can do now at this point on, since I have no other choice, I can just immediately go for the first Darklord, which was not a half bad play, to be honest. So the first Darklord to the field. There we go. And then triggering it off, our Dramaturge, and then a copy of Ad Libitum, special summoning a copy of Aliber to the field. So Ad Libitum, special summoning Aliber, Dramaturge on the field. And with that, Aliber will get us a copy of Lost later on for our next turn. And then Nastin and the level 3 will go for the Chaos Angel. So at this point on, he was going to... He was trying to remove my Theater on the field, so that is why we have Dramaturge here. So Dramaturge will just negate. And there we go. So he stops that, use the effect of first Darklord, special summoning the Eggshell. Eggshell will then get a copy of Contact from the use of Banishment in the graveyard. He managed to destroy my Dramaturge, doesn't really matter, we can just revive it back with the Superbia later on. So, during my turn, I forgot this back row here, but nevertheless, it's perfectly fine. We drew into a copy of Banishment here, use the effect of Loss, use the effect of Banishment, and get a copy of Uprising. Now, the reason for this is so that we can summon Condemned Darklord and just drop this card to the graveyard. So, Condemned on the field, sending a copy of Uprising. Now, the choice here for my search is Capricious. Now, why is that? I haven't normal summoned here, so Capricious will be normal summoned to the field. Use the effect of the first Darklord for Superbia. Superbia will search out a copy of Dramaturge. So Dramaturge on the field, and then we go Fuse. So the reason for me summoning Capricious to the field is so that we can use that monster as a fusion material and then use its effect once it's sent to the graveyard. So its effect states here that where was that? You can make all monsters your opponent currently controls lose 500 attack and defense for each fairy monster on the field. So that's insanely good. So we have 3 fairy monsters on the field. Oh, 4. Sorry, that's 4 fairy monsters. That includes Dark Eggshell. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 2,000 directly to its attack for each monster. So Dramaturge will be special summon. Capricious will then use its effect. And with the effect of Lost, we'll get a copy of Mercurier. So there we go. Mercurier on our hand. Capricious will then deduct 2,000 to each of the attack. And we go for battle. Now at this point on, I tried to realize that the dark effect of Chaos Angel has already been activated. So what my choice here is just dish out all of my attacks into the 0 attack monster, which is Ariana on the field. So there we go. Try to attack. Eggshell will then use the effect of Sanctuary, increasing his life points by 4,000. Doesn't really matter though, because I have 3 monsters on the field that can still attack. Trying to bounce back 1 card. And his Ariana is going to be on his hand. Doesn't really matter because we'll dish out all the attack into the Chaos Angel. So that is basically it. How we won our first game. Alright, so game number 2, guys. We have 1 Ukobak, 1 Dramaturge, 1 Ad Libitum, 1 Darklord Rebellion, and 1 Uprising. So really not the best of hand. We got bricked here. But nevertheless, our opponent is going first. So we are going up against Dark Magician. So good thing though, it's not really like a super threat of a deck. But yeah, I think this is the... Forgot this trap card for the Dark Magicians. But yeah, we have Dark Magical Circle. I'm just hoping he doesn't have a Dark Magician on hand. But nevertheless, we draw into an Aliber, so that's a really good win con right there. So Aliber in the field, get a copy of the Theater. Theater will be activated. You try to Eternal Soul. Eternal Soul was the name that I was looking for. So Eternal Soul, get a copy of Dark Magic Blast or Dark Magic Attack. And then we go for the first Dark card. Yeah, the first Dark card. Forgot. Because I think if he had summoned Dark Magician at this point on, he would have actually used it. Nevertheless, we go for the first Darklord and then use the effect of Dramaturge since it was used as a material. So at this point, we have 4, 3, 7, 1, 8. We have 8, 8. So we have more than lethal. So that's it. Easy as that. On to game number 3. So here we are, guys, with the last game, and we have 1 Ukobak, 1 Fallen Valbaz, 1 Allure of Darkness, 1 Darklord Contact, and Theater of the Branded. This might seem a really good hand, but it's not. It's not really a good hand. But yeah, our opponent is going first. We are going up against a Dark Magician deck again. So yeah, Soul Servant is going to be activated. Getting a copy of Dark Magician to the top of the hand and searching it out. Okay. There you go, sending a copy there, spell summoning the Apprentice Magician to the field, and getting another copy of Dark Magician. Soul Servant is gonna draw 1 card and set 1 card. I think this is the Imperm one. I forgot. But yeah, let's see. We got a copy of Capricious here, so draw 2 cards from the Allure, banishing a Fallen Valbaz, use the effect of Sarcophagus, banishing a copy of Tragedy. Now Tragedy will get us a copy of Aliber. Now I'm trying to bait out here since the only significant card here is the Theater. So if ever he doesn't stop this, we will search out a copy of Branded Fusion. But I think he did. So this was the Imperm, yeah. So negate the effect of Aliber. So at this point on, we are free to move with our Theater. So Theater, I think I was really greedy here, so that's why I went into the Guardian Chimera. But yeah, I could have gone with the first Darklord and then Spell Summon Ukobak, Eggshell to the graveyard, Darklord Contact, blah blah. But really bad choice for me. But yeah, Ukobak to the graveyard, sending a copy of Eggshell. So there we go. And then at this point on, I wanted to summon Chimera, Predator Plant, Vert, and Anaconda to field, so for a Mirror Jade. And that's basically it. A Mirror Jade on the field with 3,000 attack, and it can banish. So insanely good, but not really a strong board at this point on. So we just managed to set 1 card. So yeah, it's not really like a formidable opponent, but yeah, it's worth the play. So you go for Theater of the Branded, going for Brigran in the field, so dishing out more attack to our opponent. I could have summoned Ukobak to the field to dish out more, but I'm really afraid of that back row there, so it doesn't really matter. I just set a copy of Rebellion afterwards to pop 1 card on the field. So our opponent is gonna use Super Poly. Doesn't well, it kind of hurts my board. Nevertheless, it's perfectly fine. Use the effect of Aliber here, since a Fusion Monster is sent to the graveyard. Negate the effect of Dragon's Tepelia and use the effect of Rebellion. Now I know this is premature, But yeah, I'm just trying to like destroy everything on the board, which was which was a really good target for Imperm. And there we go. Since he tried to destroy my fairy monster, oh my gosh, he doesn't read the effect of theater here. I can spell summon back Beer Jade. And then there we go. Main phase 2. And his turn. So Brigand get a copy of Mercurier in case he'll use a monster effect. And with this, we signify our game, or solidify our game. So that is the replays, guys. Let's move back to the outro. Alright, so those were the replays, and that is the deck profile for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed this kind of content. Like and subscribe for more contents like this in the near future. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Keep safe, good luck, and baboosh!